Hi everyone, it's Rob.
Howdy, and this is Rich.
And we're going to talk today about the Niyamas, the self-observances, which is the second limb of the 8-limb path of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Today we're going to take some of the commentary from B.K.S. Iyengar's Light on Yoga Sutras, and
also from Swami Satyananda's 4 chapters on freedom, and also Swami Prabhabananda from his Patanjali Yoga Sutra commentary. And so really nice books for those of you who are into books and want to see some great commentaries upon these Sutras of Wisdom.
Okay, and so we'll begin with Rob chanting the Niyamas.
So the chant that takes us in is the 2nd chapter, and it's the 32nd sutra. And so the chant of the Niyamas is Saucha Santosha Tapasvadhyaya Ishvara Pranidanani Niyamaha.
Alright. Okay, so the first niyama, Saucha. Saucha, purity, cleanliness of body and mind. In particular, Iyengar talks a lot about that as you're purifying the body. So let's say in asana practice, right, the physical postures, we begin to also purify the body internally through that means, as though you're heating the body from the outside and slowly burning toward the core. That's pretty typical of Patanjali, talking specifically about Patanjali in that he talks from a lot of times from outer to inner, and so we can kind of take that. Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, perhaps as we said in previous talks, it's easiest to start from the outer shell, so to speak, which is when we talked about yoga, as it's easiest for us here in America and elsewhere in the West to begin from the body point of view, where, okay, we need to get more flexible, stretch our muscles, all of that, so we can have this kind of sense of doing something, doing some work that's actually good for our body. So in a certain sense, Patanjali, you could say that the cleanliness of an outer body is really important, because once you start to pay attention to just your general cleanliness of your body, perhaps that will actually start to move into the internal or the interior, and you start to think about, well, I'm dressing pretty well, at least for me. I'm not talking about immaculate, but you're dressing well, you're paying attention to what you do, you're not being dirty, you're just paying attention. You're paying more mindfulness, and that mindfulness starts to translate into perhaps going into your mind states and maybe how you conduct yourself in your life with other people, with that sort of thing. You're a little more mindful, so that goes into the interior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one other aspect of this saucha is cheerfulness that comes from that place of purity. As you begin to purify, this natural cheerfulness comes up, and it flows into your life, and a very pleasing kind of sensation.
It's
one of the byproducts, direct byproduct of this sutra.
Yeah, I mean, cleanliness, just in general, I myself, I need a lot of work on cleanliness. At least if you saw my apartment, you know what I'm talking about. But anyhow, the point being is, when I occasionally am able to clean things up and put things in order, I have a spontaneous feeling where everything is lighter. It probably has something to do with feng shui.
I think that's a universal. I think everybody at one point cleans their car or cleans their room or whatever, and then they feel that.
You feel lighter.
You feel that that easiness come over you, that cheerfulness.
So I need to work on that definitely. But regardless of that, it's inherent in this act of saucha, or purity of mind, or cleanliness. And we're talking about practical. We're not talking about purity in the sense that you're already pure when it comes down to it. Your internal essence is pure, but we have a lot of things on top of that keep it from being that So which is what we're trying to
like
cut through.
dust over the lens.
Well,
right?
yeah, like dust over a lens or over a mirror. Dust over a mirror, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important point that I want to talk about for 1 minute. Is that these are practices. The yamas are practices, and the niyamas are practices, and we have to think of them in that way so that we don't get down on ourselves about not being perfect. Practice means that we're practicing constantly, kind of like a doctor, practicing doctor. They're not perfect; they're practicing. So think of the yamas and niyamas in that light, because it can be pretty depressing
and daunting.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the word practice is that if you practice, you're very practical. So it's not to, as he said, you know, we're not trying to make saints out of anybody, but you can be somewhat a little saint-like, just a little bit, and you'll probably feel good. Let's just think about it in terms like that, if you'd like to.
Okay, second.
Santosh. Contentment. Contentment's so important. So important. Because we're always striving to get something more. I want more knowledge. In my case, I want more yoga and Buddhist books. Okay, I got tons. I have to be content with what I have. And look at that. That's just a small example. But contentment is actually not just about things. It's being content with where you are at any given moment. My best example I've actually been using in yoga classes is be content in the asana that you're assuming. Occasionally I'll pull this contentment trip, Santosh trip, on the students by saying, going from perhaps a warrior one, and we're going to assume a balanced posture or a standing posture. And we'll inhale within a warrior one, and exhale, assume warrior three. And it doesn't matter whether you fall over or whether your warrior three is not perfect. If you're holding the posture somewhat, breathe into the posture and hold it for what it is. Don't try to adjust. Don't try to fidget. Allow your posture to just be as it is as you step into it, and practice contentment there. And perhaps if you do that in postures, it gives you an example of something you can do in your life. Be content with things as they are, whether they're not necessarily pleasant or that they're pleasant or peachy keen or wherever they're at, you know.
Yeah.
Practicing contentment is very important.
Yeah, you know, Iyengar said that when we're practicing cleanliness and contentment together, it ignites the flame of tapas, which is our third niyama. So austerity, heat, friction, self-discipline. So we can think about these first from an asana practice, perhaps, where we're creating heat in the Ashtanga practice, as well as any vinyasa class that you've been to. It produces heat in the body, and we think of that heat, yes, as vigorating and making the body stronger, but also it creates that heat of change, right? So that changing
transformative power.
Transformative power, yeah. Say more about that.